Hey guys, Alex Sturgeon here, and I have another Arrma vehicle, and this time we're going to do how to change out the servo on an Arrma Granite. You can also use this on a Senton or a Typhon. What's your name, ma'am?
Heather.
Heather?
Yeah.
We have Heather filming for us. It's her car. And what's your name?
Landon.
Landon, and at Landon's car, he broke the servo, and we're going to change it out for him, okay? So here we go. So first thing is we're going to undo the actual servo horn, which is, they give you this little gap right here, and it's best to just do that right now so you don't run into problems later. And then we're going to do these bottom 4 screws here, 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 and here, and that'll make taking the servo off way, way, way easier. And I said servo, not swervo. Yeah. And now this should be able to come right out of there. Look at that. See?
Right.
There's your servo. We're going to take the servo horn off, and you can see how it's straight up and down. So straight in line with the servo. That's where we're going to have to look for when we center it. That sounds like a dying giraffe. Wah, wah. And you can see it's definitely stripped. So we'll take that off. And
Stop jumping curbs, methinks.
now we're going to take the servo completely off here. This is a 2mm wrench or drill, depending on what you got. Most of this truck uses 2mm wrenches with their 3mm screws. And you definitely need to make sure that you know the orientation. Don't make the mistake of accidentally putting this in the wrong way. That'd be bad. Now we're going to take the servo or the speed controller tray off so that we can actually get underneath it and unplug it. As you can see, we're very busy today, as always on a Sunday. We're going to make sure we don't lose that guy.
Day 3.
So there you go. So we're going to set that off. You can see the steering says STR, so that stands for steering. And we're going to unplug him. And it's kind of under, so we're going to have to take all these. Oh, here's another one. They do a nice job of keeping it clean because of that guy right there. So we're going to just yank him off of there. There we go. And pull him up like floss. We're going to be using a EcoPower 110T. This is one of our most popular servos to replace any ready-to-run vehicle. The only vehicles that this doesn't fit is Traxxas Stampede and a Traxxas Fortec. They've got the way they mount, the way that this is flatter than some servos doesn't work, but on an Arrma car, it's perfect. So we're going to drop it in. Another reason why we like this servo is that it's not very expensive. So we like good stuff that's not super expensive at all.
Another reason why you're awesome is because you're doing this for me.
Yeah, well, that too. Thanks. Okay, so we're gonna plug him in back into the steering port, which, if I can see it here, try to get that. My hand's in the way, but whatever.
That's right.
There you go. Okay, so you can see there. You always want black to the outside. Okay. If you put it in backwards, nothing's gonna happen. It's just it just won't work. So. And then we're going to try to keep it nice and clean by kind of wrapping it up in here. Sometimes you can use any sort of like
Zip
zip ties or whatever, but since we don't really have to worry about it with that one, and then it does go in upside down, and we want it wrapped up back in that little clean space off to the side. What we're gonna do, put back them in when they got the spacers on them. Where'd you go? Oh, there it is.
Like what you mean? Oh, the little thing.
And there we go. Okay, so we're gonna put that back on there. Now what we need to do is get the lid back on. All right, so when you have fat fingers like I do, sometimes these things can be a little bit harder to put back than normal. Anybody who's watched this channel knows that I'm not always
It's not always easy to get things in small
the most
spaces.
precise person on the planet. So we're gonna get this wire back in here. And my fingers are in the way of the video, but they're gonna get the idea.
You're kind of getting it.
Yeah. There we go.
Oh, let's see, you did it.
Yeah. So we want that seal to be nice and tight, so we're gonna definitely get it back in there like it's supposed to. Now we're gonna take our lid and go like that, and then look at that. Go like that.
Beautiful.
Now it's nice and clean.
Yeah.
And we're gonna use the same screws here to put the lid back on. This would be way, way harder to do, by the way, if you didn't take this box out from the bottom. We've done it several ways. When this truck first came out, we kind of had this way of pulling the servo out from underneath of it, and then we all kind of looked at each other and went, why don't we do it this way? And that's what we did.
Because it feeds faster.
And it's worked better ever since, because it just gives you a cleaner way of putting it all together. Okay, so now what we're going to do is actually plug. We're going to center the servo. This is very, very important that you do this more than anything. So we're going to turn the radio on. We're going to make sure that our steering trim is centered. Okay, if it's off to one direction, it will, there we go. If it's off to one direction, the servo, when you put it in there and line everything up, might not be as straight. So we're gonna make sure that that's centered. And then we're going to, with the car on, we're going to put our servo horn back on. The cool thing about the EcoPower 110, it's the same spline, but it's 25 splines, so as long as you have a 25 spline servo with whatever you replace it with, you'll be fine. So there you go. We'll press that back on there. And now we're going to take our servo screw here. Is that the right one? That's not the right one.
There's a lot of screws.
It's longer. Jeez. There we go. And then we're not going to tighten it all the way down with our drill, because you could actually break the servo. So we're going to hand tighten it the rest of the way. So there we go. Now what we're going to do?
It doesn't make that awful sound anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't make the awful sound anymore. We're going to turn that off again. And here's your servo arm. You're going to make sure that it's underneath here. I've had people before put it in where it's off to the side, and it hits that and they can't get it, and they have to take this all the way off again. So we're going to make sure that that's straight, and it kind of slides back in there. And now what we're going to do is drill everything in from underneath. So hold it in place. And these actually use the small ones. There we go. Got a couple more screws after this one on top to do too, but this just makes it so we don't have to hold it the whole time. And then now we're going to take and get our main screw, which it uses just another one of these nice long ones. And since it's going into plastic, it does not have a nut behind it or anything like that. And voila. Oh, it's not on. Okay, all right, we're gonna put the servo screws in too. We got this and this.
And then we will hopefully drive it around.
Yep, we're almost done.
That scared me for a second, then I realized it has very good suspension.
Oh yeah, the Granites are awesome. They're super plush.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Thank you guys.
There we go. Do. Okay, there you go. Now, one last thing. Some servos are normally reversed one way and normally steer one way, and some normally steer the other way. The EcoPower here actually goes the opposite of the Arrma. So on your controller here, unless you have a Traxxas radio, you've got your steering and throttle reverse. We're going to hit reverse, and now it's turned in the right direction. And then what you can do to finish it up, see how it's tilted off just a little bit? This is why we wanted our steering trim centered, so that you can go in and you can make it nice and even from there. So there you go, these guys are all ready to go. So that's it, we got it done, even though we've been really busy in the last 10 minutes for this video. But there you go, that's how to change out the servo on an Arrma Granite, Senton, Typhon. They all work the same way. In fact, actually the Kraton or Outcast 4S should also work the same way. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll make another video for you soon.